And good evening, everybody. Welcome to the latest edition of You Get What You Get. I'm Rickey Hampton, along with my great friends, Tree McDougal and Tim Turner, coming to you on a Tuesday evening. Hope everybody's doing great. Hope everybody's in the holiday spirit. Clearly, our good friend Tree is, with that tree just glistening in the background. Merry Christmas to the McDougal household.
Thank
Beautiful tree. And I see Tim looking jealously at your tree, wishing he had his on camera also.
I don't know about Tim, but it's beginning to look like Christmas over here. What's it looking like at your place?
Oh, nope, nothing in here. But out in the other room, here's a tree with a bunch of boxes that need to be wrapped.
Oh,
We're
you'll
going.
one up me then, because I don't have any gifts under here. So,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we got it. We're actually on the road right now, but we're gonna try to put a little something up before we get out of here. Hey, but we got a great show lined up. We're gonna be joined by the author and historian Earl Kitchen, and Earl is with Quarter Five Back. He's the author of The Black Quarterback, and Earl is going to join us at the bottom of the hour. We're going to talk a little bit about some HBCU football. We got the Celebration Bowl coming up this weekend. Howard versus FAMU. I'll take FAMU in that one. And we also going to have the announcement of the latest class into the Black College Football Hall of Fame. A lot of great players are going to be going into that, and that's going to be great, man. It is a great tradition that's going on. And and Tim, have you had a chance to get to one of the games in Atlanta?
I have not. I have not. Only thing I've done, because I work at the airport, I greet the teams the past couple of years. So I'll probably be out there on the tarmac waving in the flights from Tallahassee and from DC on Thursday, because that's when they arrive, generally Thursday afternoon. So it's gonna be kind of a busy day at the airport.
Yeah. Have you been able to get a feel? I know when Jackson State was coming up there, they were bringing a lot of folks. Any feel for what's happening here? Fam usually travels pretty well. I'm not familiar with Howard's.
Well, they travel pretty well. Also, they have some alumni in the local media. So I saw a picture today of D-Led and Steve Weiss. Weiss was up here at Flowery Branch of the Falcons, so they're both Howard grads, and they're already trying to start some stuff for the Celebration Bowl this weekend. So we'll be looking forward to just seeing that. I saw Howard play earlier this year. They were not kind to my Maroon Tigers of Morehouse. They got smoked, but 9 out of 10 games that was the case.
but you won that one,
We
right?
won the one. We won the City Championship. Clark
There you
Atlanta.
go.
What's up, Clark Atlanta?
That's something. That's something.
That is something.
And Morehouse, they made a change in coaching.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
that win did not
And
say.
that ended kind of funny too, didn't it, Tim?
Not really. It was building. I would put it that way. So that Monday he was out, and so they're still looking, and it's just the most perfect time to try to find a coach when you're trying to recruit new players. That's beautiful. So that always works well. So we'll see.
Do you think there are any people that they're looking at that you know of, or no?
I don't know what the process is, and it's I don't know what the process has been in the past. Sometimes I think people want to go with the people that they know as opposed to the best fits for whatever the jobs are, and you get some really sketchy results. So,
Tim, you played when Morehouse fielded good football teams and had a good tradition.
right.
Can they get back to that?
They can, because it's not like people want to blame academics, and I think that Dr. Pepper commercial where that guy's on the bus and screams at the young lady, says, "We have higher academic standards than you
Yeah.
guys."
Yeah.
I think of that every time I think of my school. People use that as an excuse for why we don't win. And they win at Stanford, they win at Northwestern, they win at these different schools that have higher academic standards. So that's just a crutch. It's just a matter of putting the effort into a recruiting budget, getting alumni to rally behind the program and contribute and go forward from that. And you see what happens when that does happen. I mean, Howard has built their program back up. FAM, they've always had a great following, but when they went to the SWAC, it seemed like they were energized, and they've done a lot there coming into the season. And it's been really good. I think that's why I think the Celebration Bowl is going to be outstanding. They have a lot of events surrounding it. People really like coming to town here for the bowl game, and it's one of the first bowl games of the year out of like about 300 that are going to be happening from now through the championship game in January.
And day parties.
Oh yes, there is an all HBCU day party on Saturday.
No,
So
I still want to go.
So,
But your schools have something that my school doesn't have, a football team. So we had a kicking ass soccer team though. But yeah, we didn't have
basketball. You guys are good in basketball.
We do.
The Fighting Greensboros. I said the Fighting Greensboros. I don't know the
Spartans.
The Spartans.
Yeah.
Greensboro Spartans. Okay.
Don't talk about my school.
I'm not talking about your school. I've seen them play basketball, and I think like I said, they were good. So I'm not going to click on them. Not at all.
Yeah.
But back in my day, we had soccer, and it was a great soccer team. We had basketball too, but yeah, they
North Carolina is a soccer hotbed. If you don't want to believe it or not, because I think Duke and Carolina have really great women's soccer teams as well. So yeah, shout out to soccer in the Tar Heel State.
And I Marilyn T saying, "Hey sis," want to give her a shout out back.
Hey sis.
Hey sis, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you to all our viewers out there on YouTube for checking in with us tonight. Speaking of checking in, man, I was on Ancestry all day today, trying to see if I was
tangentially related.
I never
Guess
go
who?
with
Shahani.
I'm saying,
hey. Asian heritage. Is that what you're doing?
I think I'm going to miss out, but I need to be that brother's long lost cousin, man, because he has just signed a record $700 million contract with the Los Angeles Dodgers for 10 years. And Tim Matree, he's going to only collect 20 million of that over the first 10 years. And then he's deferring the rest of it, where he'll get paid out $68 million a year over the course after the first 10 years. Just an extraordinary contract. And the richest contract in the history of sports, tops Ronaldo contract, the soccer star, by $214 million.
Yeah.
Your thoughts when you saw this go down? Let me start with you.
Jackpot.
Jackpot, yeah.
Go ahead, Tree. You said jackpot.
Hit that jackpot. No, you know what? I was impressed by the number, of course, but then, I heard that, that was his idea to defer the payments so that they can, really build the team. I believe if I got that correct.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool in itself, but he's got a lot of other options for income. So yeah, he's pretty much set. Is he single?
Good question.
I'm not, but I'm just curious because people will be lining up trying to get in his pockets, as they say, I would assume. But he seems smart enough that that's not going to happen.
That's true. I heard the number and I just was like, wow. I said, nobody's going to touch that. Nobody's going to touch that money. The Dodgers are printing money. But they were smart about it because I think this deferred payment allows them to circumvent some tax burdens that would happen. And I think it helps them out because they're going after guys like Hader, the outstanding reliever in San Diego, who's with the Brewers. The guy sits his lights out. I mean, they have money now to go get really good pieces. They need pitching. The Dodgers need pitching. And they're just like, the Braves needed hitting during the playoffs. The Dodgers got swept by the Arizona Diamondbacks, who eventually won the NL championship. So, I mean, they only had 2 or 3 players last year. So this year they got what? You think about Betts, Ohtani, and Freeman, maybe the catcher, Smith, and they still got a lot of holes. The Braves still have the best lineup. They just need to find pitching. The Dodgers need to find pitching. Most of their pitchers broke down last year. But the thing that got me about Ohtani was you look at it, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Major League Baseball teams. His contract is worth more than the entire payroll of 8 baseball teams. And that just, to me, is a stunner. I mean, I did a quick search. I can't do math.
That's why we're in comms, right?
That's right. Mm-hmm.
But
what for? Was it how much he was making per minute?
I just did the math, and it's like, okay, there are 332 million people in America. Shohei could give each of us $1 million, and he'd still be sitting on $368 million.
Wow.
Well, as his cousin, I'm going to advise him not to do that. And cousin Ohtani needs to keep that within our family. So
I can be adopted, right? Wow. I like what you found, Tim, which was that he's making, $432,099 per game, $3,000 per minute. Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
Now,
per minute.
Tell me this: are we headed toward the $100 million a year athlete?
No, because he's a once in a lifetime player. This guy's going to pitch and hit. All he's going to do next year is hit. They pay. Okay, if you want to break it down and make it split it in half, they pay $350 million for a hitter, $350 million for a pitcher, because he does both.
But isn't he on his 3rd Tommy John surgery?
I think it's his 2nd. But he's
not pitching next year.
What's that now?
He's not going to pitch next year.
No, he's not going to pitch next year. He won't pitch the next year. And so they're playing pretty much for a really expensive designated hitter. Mm-hmm. And that's nothing to sneeze at. I mean, that lineup, he's going to be awesome in it. But, you're sitting up there and you got $680 million coming to you over the next, I think, 20 years, something like that. It's good work if you can get it.
Yeah, suit up, Tim. Suit up. Did you say you played baseball?
I did, but when the pitchers just started throwing fastballs and curveballs, not when they were supposed to, that's when I knew it was time for me to give up. Pitchers think at the higher level you go up, they think a lot more than giving you a fastball on the 3-0 pitch. That's when I knew that I was cooked, because I'd have to actually do something.
And we were talking about the lack of minorities in baseball. You think seeing this payout will spur younger people to start thinking about, maybe we should be paying baseball. Be good in it. Be good in it.
That's a great point, Tree, but I don't think it will, because they've been getting paid.
Well, yeah, that too. But at the same time, I don't think they really are looking at, for all the outreach they have, Major League Baseball has for minorities. I mean, when I say minorities, I'm talking about Black people, because they'll try to get you, for Coca-Cola and a bag of peanuts in the Dominican Republic. They'll come and bring cats over here and do that.
Right.
But they're not going to spend any money for any, doesn't seem like, for native-born African-American players. And then again, too, baseball is expensive when you have all these travel teams and all these other things that are going. I mean, it costs nothing to have a basketball. You can wear a cheap pair of sneakers and go out on the court, but you got to buy all this equipment. You got to pay for hotels, staying 3 and 4 days or 2 weeks on these tournaments. It's an expensive proposition to play baseball. And and I think too, because I don't think the African-American athletes are as skilled in baseball as they used to be, because not as many are playing. They're spending out a lot of money for these kids from Asia. A guy, some outfielder who's pretty much known for more of his defense than his hitting, just signed a huge contract with the San Francisco Giants today, a 6-year contract from the Korean Baseball League. I think he was their MVP. And they're not doling that kind of money out for anybody over here.
But Tim, And I don't think when you said that, I don't think you meant it to say that we just can't play the game.
No,
Because
I'm not
I
saying
think
that.
we're still skilled. We just aren't getting introduced.
Right. I mean,
And,
I don't see the little leagues like we used to. I
right.
don't see the other different leagues like we used to. I think the interest isn't there, because there's so many other distractions and diversions that kids have nowadays.
Right.
So, yeah,
No, I'm
Is
sorry.
anybody focusing on that though?
exactly. I mean, there's nothing that, I mean, it's like kids they have their phones. They're playing games on their phones. We have a whole generation of kids who think their friends are the 300 people that are on their phone as opposed to actually interacting with people, and you're in trouble.
Right.
They really, yeah.
Yeah, I look at baseball the way African Americans are in golf now. It's not that we can't play golf. That's been demonstrated. You just don't get the introduction early enough to hone those skills to where you're 21, 22 when you're ready to go out there and hit the tour. They can do it. They don't.
I'd
They
love
don't
to
have
see what the numbers are. Since the Tiger effect, I wonder what that's been for African Americans in golf, and I wonder what the Williams effect. I mean, you see it now, these young ladies, but there's really a scarcity.
Well, I actually see the Tiger effect on a collegiate level. It's just so hard to make that jump to the PGA Tour, just like it is in baseball. Yeah, that is for sure on that. But I was saying the $100 million player. When I mentioned $100 million athlete, I'm not just talking about baseball. I'm looking at basketball. Anthony Davis, I think in 3 years, the Lakers are going to be paying him $62 million a year. And his injury issues, they're obligated to that 62 million. So if Anthony Davis, who we all know is a great player, but I'm looking at somebody like Luka Doncic.
Well, yeah, I think Luka. I was going to say you need to find a young superstar.
Yeah,
who will earn that, because people like LeBron will never see that.
No, LeBron's not going to see it, but Luka could see it. He's got the game. He got the right persuasion. He could be a guy that gets up there.
Well, look, it's a difference in the wallet, because last time we were together, so when Mark Cuban sold I guess majority interest into the Mavs. Mm-hmm. I thought if Cuban were the primary person there, I could see where he was. He's the guy that traded for Luka. I still think that the Hawks messed up when they traded Luka for Trey. So
I'd rather have.
I'll never think that was a mistake.
And he sold it for $3 billion, didn't he?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so, it's almost half the interest. He still has,
but he has some sort of controlling interest, or it's like he still runs the club, that kind of thing.
Okay.
But yeah, $100 million for somebody like him, or any of the younger guys that are coming up. I mean, Jimmy Butler's still young enough to where he possibly could get something like this. Somebody, Tatum in Boston. Giannis Antetokounmpo over in Milwaukee. They're still young people.
What about kind of like a Bronny James?
They're going to come close.
Yeah, how's he?
Well, he just played his first game Sunday night, and he looked okay. Mm-hmm. I don't think he's going to be dad, and that's just really hard to come behind. Your dad is an all-timer. It's like Pete Rose Jr. What are you going to do?
Yeah, that's going to be tough to follow, man.
Right.
Michael Jordan's kid, when he played basketball at UCF, the minute he went for a layup instead of a dunk, people are like, "Oh, come on."
I mean, you got to know that going in, though.
Right.
I think people might have that expectation, but the hype around Bronny James.
Right.
He'll make a lot of money. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's already making a lot of money. But man, when he goes out there to play, he will have a target on his back as LeBron James' son. Hey man, we got the Final Four in college football. We didn't get a chance to talk about it because we missed last week. A big controversy with Alabama coming in And we'll definitely ask our guest, who's going to join us in a couple of minutes, the great writer and author Earl Kitchens of Quarter Five Back. But Alabama, Texas, Michigan, and Washington. Your thoughts on that, Tim, and your thoughts on Alabama getting the nod over Florida State?
I think it's warranted. And I've been in so many different conversations, especially here in my house, where it's like, it's not fair. They won every game. They should be in there. They're one of a Power 5 conferences. Why aren't they in there? Because they lost their quarterback. That shouldn't preclude them. And I would think Alabama would, if they played Florida State 20 times, they'd beat them 21 times. There's no way in the world Alabama and Florida State's as good as Alabama. Heck, I mean, only way they could have possibly gotten in had Georgia beaten
Alabama.
Beaten Alabama. That's the only way they possibly have gotten in and stayed there, because they were 4. It would have been there at 4. But Alabama they won the SEC championship, and everybody knows SEC is the best conference in the free world. And that conference champ, I mean, Alabama's going to win the national championship. It's that simple. I mean, did you see the reaction of the Michigan players? They thought they had Florida State at number 4. And when they saw the video of those cats, and that murmur went through the room, you saw people heading out, look like they were going to go get drinks or whatever.
It's like, oh my goodness.
And there's a meme out there, and they showed Jim Harbaugh on the sideline saying, "Oh man, we only stole the signals for Florida State. We got Alabama." So that was cold. But yeah, I think Alabama's going to smoke Michigan, and then you got Washington playing Texas, and Washington Pennick is an outstanding quarterback, and I think that he's going to really, it's a great job, being the prettiest girl in the ugliest conference in football, the Big 12. The last year of the real Big 12 this year, because Texas will be in the SEC next year. So all these guys, all the conferences are changing, and I just think Alabama's the best of the 4.
Your thoughts on Florida State, Tree? Did you have any?
I do. They were talking, asked, should they boycott? And I thought,
bowl game?
Yeah, boycott their bowl game. I guess just to make a point. But I don't know. I was kind of thinking about that. I don't know if they should, but they probably won't. But I think, I don't think they should. But that just seems like kind of poor sportsmanship. But I totally understand, how they would feel about it. What do you guys think?
I boycott.
Would you?
Oh yeah. If it's like they're playing Georgia in Miami in the Orange Bowl or whatever, the Metropolitan Miami. I bet every player on that football team has been inside their stadium, has played high school football championships in their stadium. They get nothing out of going and playing close to home. That's a nothing bowl game for them. Mm-hmm. I think that although granted they didn't deserve to be in the Final Four, but I think these people making business decisions as opposed to doing what they supposed to be the rules. You had 4 undefeated champions, with 3 undefeated champions. Michigan didn't lose a game. Washington didn't lose a game. Texas didn't lose a game, and Florida State didn't lose a game. That's the top 4 teams. They did everything. Those kids did everything they were supposed to do this year. They did everything right, and they got left out.
Right. And, when I was thinking about it, just how they decided that their quarterback wasn't strong, because the quarterback got hurt. Shouldn't they have ranked them lower earlier on then, instead of like when it got down to the end?
Well, he got hurt. He got hurt late in the season. I think he got hurt the next to the last game. And because the kid was, he was really good. Their quarterback was, but they were playing their 3rd string quarterback in the championship game and still beat Louisville.
I know, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't seem right that they shouldn't.
Yeah, and you guys were talking about boycotting some of the games, and some of these games are ridiculous. The Pop-Tart Bowl,
Yeah.
North Carolina State versus Kansas.
Yeah, I saw that. I
State.
thought I highlighted some of those, the names of the Pop-Tart Bowl, the famous Toastery Bowl, the Potato Bowl.
No, there used to be one that was the Waste Management Bowl.
Yeah, that was in Miami. That was in
Yeah, I
Miami.
used to think that was the worst name.
The,
Kool-Aid Weed Eater Bowl.
the Gasparilla Bowl.
Gasparilla Kool-Aid Weed Eater. You got, what is this? Somebody Guaranteed Loan Bowl. I'm like, really?
Yes.
That's Shohei Ohtani. That's a Guaranteed Loan Bowl.
The Pinstripe Bowl.
Yeah, that's corny stuff. The Duke Mayo Bowl, where you in the winter you get a bunch of mayonnaise poured on you.
But
Yeah.
I like that. I like the mascot for Duke's Mayo. He's
big
the one
jar
who
of
did the crip walk.
mayonnaise?
Yeah, he did the crip walk. Remember at the?
Yes, he did. At the
I didn't even know what he was doing. You said he was doing a crip walk.
He was crip walk for the.
Hey guys, this is a January 1 bowl between LSU and Wisconsin, the Relia Quest Bowl.
Yeah.
Hey, come on, man.
The what?
It's called the Relia Quest Bowl.
See, but you get these names like this now. You're trying to figure out what city they're in. I think that might be in Jacksonville, maybe.
Yeah,
Oh, I see it. Relia Quest.
But no, that's not Jacksonville because the Gator Bowl's another night.
but
Okay.
I want to bring our guest in because the Pac-12 is no more in terms of football with the season over and USC is about to be and UCLA is about to be in the Big Ten. It's just hard for me to see them coming to Ann Arbor and East Lansing every year. What is this change in the structure of the Power 5 conferences? We can't even say that anymore. Where the big time college football programs, how does that impact the HBCUs as we head into the Celebration Bowl and with the impact of the transfer portal? And we got a great guy to help us understand some of this, the author of the Black Quarterback and the administrator of Quarter 5 Back and the BIP Awards, the great writer and historian Earl Kitchens, whose mighty FAMU Tigers are going to FAMU Tigers. Rattlers are going to be ready to strike again this Saturday in Atlanta. Welcome to the show, Earl.
Hey, Ricky, thank you. Tree, Tim, hey, good to see you guys again. Enjoying your conversation. Always glad to join you.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Hey, Earl, is this all this mayhem and change at the major college programs? Is this an opportunity for the HBCU conferences and schools to maybe enhance what they're doing? We already got a boost by Deion's impact at Jackson State, and the Celebration Bowl has been a big success over the years. Do you see any more opportunities down the road?
Well, I don't think there are going to be too many more opportunities because what the major colleges are showing you right now, you got to have major bucks to play or be at the poker table. And without the major dollars, you're just not going to be at the table. So from an HBCU standpoint, we just don't have that type of revenue to play at those levels. I've listened and watched people talk about Black colleges going FBS. Other than football, all the other sports are Division I. Trying to go to FBS again requires some criteria and it requires some money. And if we don't have the money to get in the game and or sustain ourselves in the game, we're not going to make it. And it's not going to bode well for us. So me personally, I think the Celebration Bowl was the best thing that has ever happened for Black college football. I hope that we can just augment that a little bit more and get that bowl amount up from 1 million to maybe 1.5 up to 2 and make it something very special. But beyond that, I don't think we are going to be able to have enough chips to get in the game.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. And I think the grand HBCU experiment might be dwindling. We got Hugh Jackson got canned. Eddie George didn't have a lot of success at Tennessee State. I don't know what Alabama State did. I don't think they did with Eddie Robinson. So it's not like these guys came in and just turned these programs around because they had NFL chops. So it's still
let me ask this question. In order for teams from the MEAC and or the SWAC to get in to the FBS, first of all, the NCAA would have to make those conferences FBS conferences. Otherwise, you got to join the FBS conference. And we know that's not going to happen.
Right.
HBCU is not going to be invited into those conferences. They're already set. They don't need us. They don't need a black college to come in to make them any more valuable, any more visible, or anything like that. So let's keep building on what we have and make that stronger and better, because when I look at some of the other mid-level colleges, HBCU gets more TV time than a lot of other mid-level colleges than I've ever seen in my lifetime. So we're getting the value, and we've got enough media out there. There's a lot of young men and women out there making this media thing very special for our colleges. So let's grow that and grow it well, and be happy that we can have this platform and all the platforms we have now, and stop trying to go after the golden ring, because if they don't want us in, they'll find another way to keep us out. I guarantee you that.
Yeah, it was 1 year I was talking to the commissioner. I think it's commissioner of the SWAC many years ago, and he was saying that some of the predominantly white schools that were in this 1AA said, "We're coming after your bid," and so that was just a shocker. They're talking about it. This is the basketball tournament before it expanded to 64 teams, and because if people felt like it was a joke to have the SWAC and the MEAC champs, get into the tournament. And then they started, they tried to, then they started putting the play-in game where, in one of those two games, you go ahead and SWAC and the MEAC champion playing in the play-in game.
That's right.
Those ways to try to weed them out before the actual tournament starts, that kind of thing. And that's the mentality, because it's a lot of money that people feel like, they're just giving to the HBCUs, throwing them a bone, that kind of thing. So you're right.
Don't they throw the other conferences a bone? I mean, because if a MEAC or SWAC school is the 16th seed, well, who's the 15th seed? That's not a SWAC or a MEAC school. So aren't they throwing them a bone also, because they aren't from those power conferences? They aren't that strong. So, it becomes semantics at times. And that's why I definitely wouldn't want to see the MEAC go away, because we would lose one opportunity to go to the tournament in basketball, so or in baseball or in softball or all the other sports. So we don't need to be declining. We need to be embellishing and bringing out schools and making them stronger, so we can just compete at the level we are at. We're in Division I. The MEAC and the SWAC are Division I in everything but football. Let's make our basketball program strong. I mean, this particular basketball season, black colleges have won more games this early in the season than I've seen them win in 20 years, man. I mean, this is unbelievable. And that's on the men and the women's side. So, things are shifting. Things are getting better. We're getting some better athletes. So let's keep making that stronger and stop trying to be something that we're really not. We're not going to be a FBS. I mean, the money is just is going to always be the deterring factor in that whole scheme, and they're showing you now with if you can get UCLA and USC to leave the Pac-12 and join the Big Ten, and they got to cross the country, game in, game out to play each other in conference play. What does that say about black colleges? I mean, come on, let's just be real about the fact that it's money now. That's what's driving everything. No money, you can't get in the game. So I'm happy where we are. I'm glad we got the Celebration Bowl. And I'm more happy this year because my school is playing in it. But we got to make this strong.
You mentioned the basketball.
No, go ahead, Tim.
So you were mentioning basketball. I was pointing out. Generally, this December is the time where a lot of these basketball programs make their money.
Yeah,
they get these checks to go get beat down somewhere, and we don't always like to play along with that, because I made a mention a couple of things where Southern is beating UNLV and Mississippi State.
Right.
Alabama State beat North Carolina A&T, which is always in the NCAA tournament. And there's just not comparable programs. Jackson State beat Missouri and Arkansas State. And so you look at things like that where they weren't supposed to win. They were supposed to just go there, take your whipping, get the check, see you later.
That's right.
On the women's side, it's not always been like that. I think with University of South Carolina drilled Mississippi Valley, like some ridiculous score, 101 to 19, something like that. And, I think Dawn Staley's trying to give some exposure to HBCUs, and she exposed Morgan State to a 104-38 beatdown as well. So it didn't always work that way, but this is the time of the year they make their money. They get up there. They say they're giving these kids exposure. That's true. And, you're really surprised a lot of times when they win these games. But, it's more of a level playing field in basketball and in the other sports than it is in football. And I think that's where that's an exciting time for these kids.
Absolutely. And having been on the SID and a marketing standpoint at both Bethune-Cookman and Florida A&M, and being on those road trips to actually witness the basketball teams play those money games, it's a tough road to go on the road and take those beatings this time of the year. The check is fine. And for the psyche of the kids, I don't know if it always, hurt them as much as people want to make believe that it did, because I think they're resilient. Okay, they understand what they're doing. They want to compete. But, when you got superior talent, if you got a five-star guys playing against three-star guys and two-star guys, it's already a mismatch. So what are you expecting to happen? But our kids want to compete. They enjoy the exposure. It's an opportunity for them to see other programs, to see how other things are done. I know for me, it gave me an opportunity to see the facilities at these basketball schools where all of them have a practice facility. They don't practice in their gym. They have their own separate practice facilities. And we want to just raise our programs to be at that same level. So when a kid comes and visits us and is trying to make a decision about where they want to go to school, it's equal. It's not so much unequal or unfair or is a disadvantage, because those are some of the things these kids look at nowadays. You go to a weight room and it looks like a high school weight room compared to a pro weight room. It makes a decision easy for a kid, but not every kid fits these programs. And that's the part that they don't get.
And you know what? Some of these HBCUs need to figure out who they are, and going to join some of these conferences and leaving the historically Black conferences like Tennessee State did for the OVC. It has been a tremendous setback for TSU athletics, and to the point where, talking to some old folks, I covered that program for years early in my journalism career, but talking to some old heads down there, TSU may be looking to make a move out of the OVC and going back to playing the independent schedule that they once did, or perhaps joining the SWAC, because people are tired of seeing they aren't coming to the games. They have 2,000 people there. And, Eddie George was complaining, where are our fans? Well, dude, you playing Longwood College, wherever that's from. No, nothing against Longwood College, but they want to see them play Florida A&M University. They want to see them play Jackson State University. And the powers that be at the university, at Tennessee State University, may be finally coming to grips with that. So we will see if something happens in the next couple of years with TSU, but they aren't the only ones that have done that. Hampton went to I think they went to the Big South.
Yeah.
North Carolina A&T has gone to the Big South, I believe. And I don't think it's going any better for them in those conferences.
No. I will say this, Ricky, if I had my opinion about it, I would respectfully ask Tennessee State to join the MEAC, to strengthen the MEAC, because the SWAC doesn't need any more schools. I mean, they got 12. Join the MEAC and strengthen that conference and make it stronger. And that will definitely help that conference out, both in football and all the other sports. I don't see the point in trying to come to the SWAC. I mean, I know there've been talk about a super conference, and a lot of the super conferences Talk was always dealing with most of the teams in the SWAC, but with A&M and Bethune-Cookman now in the SWAC, there needs to be a little, at least 2 more teams in the MEAC to give it a little bit more strength. Both at
they would be a great addition to the
absolutely.
Hey, Earl, you said earlier that the HBCU schools are getting better student athletes. What do you think is because of that? I know that there's a shift where individuals are then now looking at HBCUs. Do you think that's part of it? Or, what's attracting the better athletes to HBCUs?
Tree, that's a good question. I think there's a rebirth of pride, first and foremost, in our students. Maybe the parents who are a little bit younger than myself, they're really pushing them, and they're seeing the value of these Black colleges. And some of these students may be realizing that, that's a better fit for me than going to a place that may not be a good fit. And I think the value of a Black college is starting to really take a hold of these kids, and they want to be in those kind of places where they make a good fit. They feel comfortable. They don't have to really fight through so many different obstacles of being at a college that really doesn't suit them. So I'm happy to see that the enrollments at the HBCUs is growing, and I just hope that we can get a few more prized athletes to join that and help strengthen our programs, because all it's going to take is a few more 5 stars or even some 4 stars to make the programs better. And we can be competitive, but we got to be on the same playing field. So if we're getting some better athletes, some better student athletes on both the men and the women's side, let's keep pushing them to do that. I think kids are finding some pride, more self-pride in being Black now, that they want to be a part of that.
We're speaking with Earl Kitchens, the author of The Forgotten Quarterback and director of the BIP Awards. And Earl, I followed the watch list this year, and this kid, DJ Lagway.
Yes, indeed.
58 touchdown passes. I don't know if he's going to finish atop and be the winner of the BIP Award, because he's had a lot of competition across the country. Andrew Atmore out of Greensboro, North Carolina, 54 touchdown passes. Yapur down in Miami threw for 28 TDs and was a big play guy. And I see all these African-American quarterbacks throwing the football now. And we see how that has eventually made its way to the highest levels. I've mentioned before on the show, at the start of this year, we had 16 Black quarterbacks starting in the National Football League. Is it just the styles of offense that have accelerate the passing game?
I would say,
because we used to be like the kid at Oklahoma back in the day, T.J. Watts, not T.J. Watts,
J.C. Watts.
J.C. Watts.
He just ran no, we throwing that rock now, and we've been doing it really for a while, but it's maybe at its zenith now.
Well, I think a lot of that has to do, Ricky, with the fact that the West Coast offense became so prevalent in a lot of programs, which means that they're throwing the football a lot more. But I think what is also happening is that in these high schools, coaches are recognizing that in a day and time when, like they say, things are getting bigger, stronger, faster, you got to have a guy who can outrun some of these linemen and linebackers sometimes. But at the same time, these young men that you named, they can actually throw the football, and they're in programs that are throwing the football, and they're showing that, hey, they have all the skills, talent, mental aspects to be quarterbacks. They don't have to change positions anymore. They're not changing positions anymore. They're not converting from quarterback to wide receiver and defensive back. Speaking to Ricky Foggy last night, they asked him to change positions when he went to the NFL and he was a quarterback, but they asked him. It's like, you asked the guy to change. So these young men in this day and time, they're not changing. They're quarterbacks. That's what they're going to be. And if you can't accept them in your program to be that, they'll find another program, and either you play against them or you play with them or you get beat by them. But it's phenomenal. And last year, we had about 400 people on our watch list nationally. This year, we're probably up to about 500 black quarterbacks at the high school level from East Coast to West Coast. And the way this has been going last year and this year, if they thrown for 3,000 or more yards, they become basically the finalists to win the Bilt Memorial Trophy. So when I look at the fact that we had a young man last year in the 9th grade threw for 4,100 yards and 48 touchdowns, he's in a program. I saw that program up close in Carrollton, Georgia. They throw the football. They got a program, and that's what they do. And that's what it's all about.
That is incredible. Tim, get you in on this.
I was just thinking about the quarterbacks and how we've come a long way. And I was thinking 2 of the 4 quarterbacks in the Final Four for the national championship D1 are African American. African American quarterback won the Heisman on Saturday.
Again.
So you're looking at all these things where these things are coming to fruition. The last 2 quarterbacks to win the Heisman were African Americans. You had Williams of Southern Cal last year. Yep. So you're going, it's not like it's an aberration to see that happening. And now, you look at matchups on television and you'll see one brother going up against another brother. And you really don't even want to, it's a secondary thing or an afterthought unless you really just sit up there and look at it. But you also want to see him have the success. I mean, Dak Prescott having success. It was Dallas versus Philly, Prescott versus Hurt, right there. The marquee game. So you see these big games, these big moments, and it's not too big for people. The game Saturday night. I mean, late Sunday night, Kansas City would have won the game. Pat Mahomes was doing his thing, got a great play at the end, but then he had his receiver, his foot was a little bit big. And everything.
Well, hey, can they ask Lamar Jackson to run when he was coming out to somebody?
What the go? Because is it that Gil Brandt? That wasn't Gil Brandt. Whoever it was.
No, Bill Polian. Bill
Polian wanted him. Didn't think he could play quarterback at the NFL.
Yeah.
Right. He thought he didn't think he had what it took to be a quarterback. And he's apologized several times over.
Yeah, he has. Yeah.
But still, we want to say, Bill Polian, you were wrong. I want to keep saying it. You were wrong. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
When you're so used to Jim Kelly and dropping back and doing that kind of stuff, and it's all well and good to have that success. You had Jim Kelly, Frank Reich up there in Buffalo, but these other guys can play too.
Hey, so, Tim, I tell you how wrong they are. When a Dak
how wrong are they? I'm sorry. How wrong are they?
Okay.
When a Dak Prescott, a Lamar Jackson, and a Jalen Hurts can make over $100 million in salary, that's how wrong they are. That's how wrong they are. These guys getting hundreds of millions of dollars in salary being quarterbacks in the NFL. I mean, and then, of course, Lamar and his mother negotiated the highest contract this past year. So that's how wrong they are. But they got to have guys who are fast enough to outrun some of these linebackers and linemen. So that's the way the game is going, and they got to adapt to it.
Well, the day of the pocket quarterback is over. Really, it is. I mean, it's like you need to have, before defenses have to worry about 10 guys on the field running. That's the kind of thing. When it used to be when the quarterback would do a bootleg or something like that, it was like they invented fire. A quarterback who could run.
Right.
You've seen guys all my life doing that. I'll go back to literally my childhood with Condrich Holloway was quarterback in Tennessee. So it's like back in the day where he was somebody that was just turning heads, and people thought that was just so out of the box to see a guy, doing what he was doing. So
I got a piece of trivia for you.
Go ahead.
So we're talking about scrambling quarterbacks or guys who can run out the pocket in a bootleg or whatever. Do you recall the first white quarterback that was known for scrambling and getting away from pressure?
Yeah.
Friend the man Tarkenton.
He said Tree, but thank you, Tim.
I was helping you out, Tree.
I appreciate that. So much because I was like,
I see it right here in Detroit. The Lions are struggling, and people are asking why. Well, then You know what? Let me correct that. They are still 9-4. They usually
Thank
take
you.
the Lions about 2 years to win 9 games. But what's happened, Jared Goff is an excellent quarterback if you sit there and protect him. They got two. They got their Pro Bowl center and their Pro Bowl. And the Lions have a great offensive line. They got, I think, 4 first-rounders and 1 third-rounder who's a Pro Bowler. 2 of them were missing. You pressure Goff, and he can't move. But if you protect him, he will throw that thing on you.
Right.
Fortunately for us, we got Hendon Hooker coming along, and I think he will eventually be the answer because of what Tim was saying. You got to be able to get away from these guys.
No doubt.
Now, haven't we said in the past that, we're talking about quarterbacks that, are throwing passes. And then we've also talked about how running backs are devalued. So does that kind of play into it then? Right.
Yeah, pretty much. Because it's a passing league now.
Mm-hmm.
And the running backs now have to be pass catchers. They have to be. They can't just be running with the ball. They got to be able to not have hands of stone. Mm-hmm. Like you see some of these running backs that you throw something out there on the flat and it's just an incomplete pass waiting to happen. Mm-hmm. So it's passing, and that helps out too with the offense.
But you guys got a unique one in Atlanta with Bijan. We got one in Detroit with
Gibbs.
Yeah, guys like that are still very valuable. I don't know how Robinson has been working out, but I'm sure he's had a good year and it's going to get even better.
No, our offense is stunk it up in Atlanta, and that's why we've given up safeties in back-to-back weekends trying to throw passes out of the end zone. So thank you for that, for wonderful play calling in Atlanta. So don't even get me started on that because our quarterback is trash. So you guys, at least your guy, he may get sacked, but at least he's gonna get the ball out of his hand. But that is a brother who supposedly, he did run a touchdown in with 3 minutes to go into the game, but of course that was too much time on the clock. It gave my Falcons too much time to lose the game. So which they did. But you got all these quarterbacks out there, even the guys with the backups. I mean, granted, the guy in Minnesota was benched, I think, today. And that was his own deal. This guy he would turn the ball over a lot. That was the thing. But you got Tua down in Miami with that just unbelievable offense, and it makes a difference when you have a cheetah out there on the receiver, because when he got hurt, Tennessee got back in the game, and they just won an incredible game last night. So,
that was pretty amazing. Yeah.
Hey, Ricky, there's one team that's relying on their running back quite heavily, and that's the San Francisco 49ers.
Yes, sir.
Isn't that ironic, though? But look at who he is.
Yeah.
Look at who he is, and they're relying on him pretty heavily to run that rock.
And he runs it too, man.
And he runs. Oh yeah.
McCaffrey's like, he's just a unicorn, because it's like what he's the one and only, because you don't see too many. There's no other ones in the NFL.
No.
He is such an outstanding talent.
Absolutely.
I mean, he catches the ball, runs hard, runs inside, runs outside. You look at him and you wonder what was Carolina's thinking for just trying to essentially giving him away to San Francisco. Yeah. But it just made that team a whole lot better.
How wrong were they? How wrong were they, Tim?
1-12. What are they?
They're 1-12 in Carolina without him.
Yeah.
San Francisco clinched the playoff berth on Monday night. So,
And they would have got McCaffrey broken up by now, man. He'd be all banged up. He couldn't play anymore.
That's true. Their offensive line is trash, which is why the kid that's there now.
He'll be fine.
He's shell shocked. So they've ruined him.
If they don't ruin him. Hey, we just got a few more minutes, and I want to Earl, your thoughts on the college side of the watch list, and your thoughts on the Celebration Bowl. I think FAMU is going to win the game, but your thoughts on it, and tell us about. This is the second year of the Biff Award, and I think it's a great award for our Black college athletes to have on their resume for the winner. I know Shador Sanders won it last year. Talk to us about that and the Celebration Bowl. Who you like? Well, we know who you like, but break it down.
I was gonna say, do I need to recuse myself on that question? Because we already know where that answer lies.
Speak from your heart.
Yes. Thanks, Tree. But as it relates to the BIP award for the HBCUs, ironically, the top 3 guys on our watch list are from Division II SIAC schools. You can't make this up. Aeneas Dennis from Benedict is at 1. David Wright from Allen is 2. And Jaron Russell from Edward Waters is 3. Then Musa from FAMU. So unless Musa, I think he can probably be in a very close running with Dennis, because Dennis is not in the position that he's in right now to finish out the season like he is. But playing for a national championship, being the offensive player of the year in the SWAC, first team SWAC, he can close out his resume very well and position himself to possibly win the second annual BIP Memorial Trophy. And Ricky, let me tell you, if the committee so decides to vote Musa in, let me tell you how excited I'm going to be, because that award is named after the late Oliver Bip Joyce, who died from a neck injury when he played at Florida A&M. So for Musa to win the award under the name of Oliver Joyce, who was a FAMU player too, I mean, that would be like the cherry on top of the cherry on top of the sundae. So that's what I'm looking at. But right now, I'm all in with FAMU winning the Celebration Bowl. Kudos to Coach Willie Simmons, who has done something that hasn't been done since Coach Rudy Hubbard was there, to take a team to 11-1 with the possibility of winning a championship at the end. They did that in '78 when they played Massachusetts and went 12-1 that year. They are right on the verge of that. So congratulations to Coach Simmons and the Rattler football team and his coaches. I hope they play football on Saturday. None of this nonsense. Run the football when you need to run the football. Throw the football when you need to run the football, and let's take care of business. So that's my pitch.
Yeah, I think they will. Hey guys, what do you think about this? And Tim, you played in the SIAC. You have Celebration Bowl weekend. You have the MEAC versus the SWAC doubleheader. SIAC versus CIAA champion. Celebrate Black college football that whole week in Atlanta.
That'd be great if you can get the facilities. If you're going to have it out there like that, because where's the Celebration Bowl being played in Mercedes-Benz?
Absolutely.
Okay, so it's like all this, I think, starting today, through the week, through Thursday, Georgia High School State Championship football's in there.
Right.
So, you probably, and you don't really want to be outside here this time of year. I mean, granted, it's not bitterly cold, but it's going to be like 40s and 30s at night to be playing football games.
Nothing, right, Ricky?
Picnic weather in Detroit anyway.
Tough it up. Yeah.
You could do a double header that day.
Well, yeah, you probably could, but trying to clear out a stadium or charging people for two games,
that would be kind of tough.
So you're gonna need more day party space, right? You're gonna need more space.
Yes. I mean, the Georgia World Congress Center with nothing but day parties, which is right there adjacent to the stadium.
Yes.
You got Earl. You don't think bringing in alumni from 4 HBCUs to have that? You don't see that? Why do you think that?
Well, I'll tell you one thing, Ricky. What's kind of hard is the SIAC wraps up their regular season schedule like the first week of November, and you got like 8 weeks. 8 weeks and then they want to start them back up again. That's gonna be kind of tough.
Yeah, that's a big.
I think one of the answers, Ricky, and I'm not sure how this is going to go, but tomorrow in Miami they have the Beach Bowl.
That's a football game.
That is a new Division II Black college football game between Fort Valley and who's the other team, Tim?
Oh gosh, I can't remember it because I thought
it's SIAC and the CIAA team.
I'll look it up.
I think it's Johnson C. Smith. Johnson C. Smith is playing Fort Valley tomorrow afternoon in Miami in the first ever Beach Bowl.
Cool.
If that game could turn into the SIAC, the Division II championship for black colleges, all well and good, but I think trying to have that much activity in Atlanta on a weekend would just be a little bit much for the city.
Like Freaknik, right?
No,
worse than Freaknik. Worse than Freaknik.
I would hazard to guess it would not be too much for the city since they were used to having a Super Bowl and stuff here. So they pretty much can accommodate pretty much anything in the free world. But I can't see it a midweek, a Wednesday football game in December before the holidays. You know, that's a tough. They're asking for a lot for people.
Hey guys,
it's in a small venue, so
okay.
Guys, I hate to end the night with sad news, but I am reading some breaking news. The great actor Andre Braugher has passed away.
Yes.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine actor has died after a brief illness. So many of us remember for his role in Glory and so many series, Law and Order, SUV, Men of a Certain Age, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. He was nominated for 11 Emmy Awards and won twice. Just say.
He's just 61. That was the thing that got me. I thought he was much older.
61 years old.
That is
I
sad.
thought he was younger than that, though. But 61, okay.
Yeah, I thought he was younger.
Yeah, so our thoughts and prayers definitely go out to his family and
absolutely
thank him for his wonderful contribution to our community over the years. That brother always portrayed himself with class and dignity on the screen, and he was always, a strong black man in whatever role he was playing. So, thought I'd share that. Sorry to end it on a sad note, but Earl, before we get out of here, tell us how we can get the book. Tell us when the announcement will come out.
If you want to order a copy of The Forgotten QBs, you can go to our website at Quarter5, that's PHI, not FI, Quarter5 back like the fraternity, and click on the icon on our menu, and you'll find how you can get the book. We take Zelle, we take Cash App. It's only $35, and that includes shipping, and it will be autographed directly to you, and we'll get it out. As far as the announcements for the Bill Memorial Trophy for both the HBCUs and for high schools, I'm looking at the first of the year for that announcement to come out because we got to wait for this game this weekend to see where the numbers will stack up. And then once we get that game, we'll redo the numbers. We'll set the ballots out, get them to the committee, and get the committee, because it's the holiday, you know how things can be on holidays. But I'm looking at the first week in January to make the announcement of who will win this year's award. And I can already tell you that it's going to be kind of hard catching Derek DJ Lagway from Willis, Texas. He's also been nominated for the National High School Football Player of the Year. So he is quite a catch, and he'll be playing Saturdays in Gainesville, Florida next fall.
All right. Well, we're going to get out of here for Earl Kitchens and Tim Turner and Tree McDougal. I'm Rick Hampton.
All right. Be kind, everybody. And good luck, Earl.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Thank you, Tree. Everybody have a Merry Christmas. Thank you.
You too.
All right.
Bye.